In this review we look at two versions of a Genie compact telehandler. The European version is the GTH 2506 and the NZG model number is 928. The US version is GTH 5519 and its model number 9281. Both models come in similar Genie branded boxes, with just the photo and the machine number being different. Unusually for NZG models, both these boxes have seals on the flaps, but as long as you've got fingernails you can peel those off and pull out the insides. Up and away with the top tray, and inside we see the model sitting and it's wrapped in some soft paper. And there's also a small bag containing some spare pins. But there's no assembly to do because these models are complete out of the box. We will start with the European version, and there is detail underneath with the drive shaft modelled in plastic. The tyres are chunky and at the back there are flexible hoses, painted lights and a tiny Genie badge. Inside the cab the detail is good with a nice steering wheel and console. On the engine cover the grills are represented by graphics and the Genie name is nicely indented. One nice touch is the silver painted hydraulic pipes on the boom. And there are some nice graphics which add detail. At the front the forks and plate are all metal. Let's now look at the differences between the European and US versions. The EU version has lights, safety bar and a box at the rear, and the US version doesn't. Moving to the front, the European version has lights, and the US version has to drive round in the dark. Let's get a Genie out onto the test track and it's certainly happy to run around. And if we pick it up with the giant hand crane we see that there's steering on both the front and rear axles with a moderate range of movement. So we can steer the model Genie in a reasonably tight curve. And if we want to confuse the hell out of everybody we can set the crab steering. And then we can drive about at odd angles. Let's move on and check out the telehandler functions. The boom is controlled by a reasonably stiff cylinder, as are the forks. The inner section of the boom is metal and it does telescope, and it's quite stiff so it'll easily hold any pose you want to set. The forks themselves are loosely attached so you can slide them sideways, and you can narrow them to a rather sharp and painful looking point. The other thing you can do is to detach the forks. There are a couple of steel pins that you remove. And it would have been nice if the model had included a couple of other attachments. Time for the genuine imitation real-life test. And here we see the Genie approaching a giant box. And on top of it is a differently scaled Volkswagen T5. Yes, only on Cranes etc. can you see real-life tests such as this. Here we see the operator using the optional giant hand attachment to lift the Volkswagen. And then we see the Genie slowly reversing, carrying its load. Here we see the operator's got his boom up, and he's using his hands to put it back down. These are quite a nice pair of Genie models from NZG. They are robust and well made, and there are some nice touches of detailing. Also the functionality is quite good so you can set some realistic poses. These are in the larger scale of 1 to 32 and they're easy models to recommend.